You make
I'll
you make an X amount of copies.
the paint.
You never know if you got enough or if you got too many,
5-gallon bucket.
but it's all good.
Get it shaken because it's, I don't know more.
What's that?
And I just have something.
Well, that's the idea. Well, I actually have one or two extras.
Yeah.
Standing room only.
That would be a good problem.
For hand, using
Good problem.
especially in the bathroom, there's.
Do you need a pen? Rob, can you reach the pen? Other way.
I'm gonna try to stay home as much as possible.
We have a short lesson on how to come to class prepared.
That would be a longer lesson, I think, than we realize. You'd have to define that these days. What does prepared mean?
Okay.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
What?
Morning.
Yeah, although with the blustery weather and everything, it almost seems like dusk outside rather than morning. Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments from prior classes or last class? You? All right, with that, first slide, of course, is a slide that we always touch base on. And the reason there's two of these slides in here, just as a reminder, is because it's absolutely essential that you remember this. All right, that's why we start with it and we end with it. Okay, where it says, how does budget and finance build the kingdom? And then how does understanding money and budgets help with the spread of the gospel for the individual? All right. These are the questions we always need to be asking ourselves. Always, always, always. What's my motivation? How is this going to help me in my Christian walk? How is this going to help me maybe present the gospel to somebody else? Because presenting the gospel to somebody else is not simply meeting for a Bible study. It's not simply talking Bible with somebody at work or somebody at coffee or something like that. Most of the time, you won't get a study with somebody if they watch you and they are not impressed with how you conduct yourself in your life. Okay? Parenting is one of those things they watch. Your marriage is one of those things they watch. And if you are neither, then they look at what you're doing with your money. They look at what you're doing with your time. Okay? You have to be trustworthy in order for them to convey trust towards you, obviously. So, now the other thing I want to remember here is this isn't by judging others, but by ourselves. Judging ourselves. Okay? We are not the budget and finance police, right? It's not our job to point at somebody else and say, hey, I don't like how you're doing that. Say, well, that's great. Why don't you keep your nose in your own business? Ever felt like saying that to somebody else? Ever had somebody come up and stick their nose in your business suddenly? Everybody has. Everybody has known somebody like that. All right, next slide. Okay, let's talk about frugal for a second. Okay, so, and at the bottom, anytime I pull something off the net, I don't always have time to run it completely down, but I will give you the reference at the bottom so that if you so choose to go look yourself, you can, okay? So, frugal, this is the adjective version. What?
You're good boy, Molly, look at you.
No.
I'm sitting back here.
No. I want to go on record as stating that Michelle is not nearly as rigid as she used to be, and I'm very proud of her for doing so, okay? All right, so it's an adjective. This is the economical in use or expenditure, prudently saving or sparing, not wasteful. And then they have an example here. What your office needs is a frugal manager who can save money without resorting to painful cutbacks. All right, that's how they're using it. I do like that they have synonyms and antonyms here. Now, number 2 there, entailing little expense, requiring few resources, meager, scanty, or frugal meal. Then they go into the synonyms and antonyms again. Now, a couple things I want to point out here. If you look in number 1 where it says economical in use or expenditure, what is a word we covered last class that could be used here as well?
Last week.
Resourcefulness. Okay? Would resourcefulness apply to economical in use or expenditure?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right? Okay. Down at the end of number 1, not wasteful. Could that be resourcefulness as well? Absolutely. Okay. Down in the synonyms there where it says thrifty, I'm not sure what. Now I pulled this straight off, so I don't know if that's their typo or if that's actually a word. Charity. I think it might have been charity. Anyway, thrifty, provident, careful, prudent, penny wise, scrimping, miserly, Scotch, penny pinching. Now, Thrifty is a resourcefulness word, isn't it? Also. Careful can be a resourcefulness word. Penny-wise can be a resourcefulness word. But then you've got these other ones in here like scrimping, miserly, penny pinching. Are those resourcefulness words? No, they're scarcity words. All right. So down in the next one here, the synonyms under the next one. If you go to like scant, slim, sparing, skimpy, all scarcity words. All right. Not abundant words, but scarcity. In other words, remember, scarcity is this is as good as it's ever going to get for me. I don't have any more potential than this. It's not ever going to get any better. So I have to work with this because this is all I have and this is all I'll ever have. That's the attitude. Okay, that's scarcity. So, but if you look at number 2 there where it says requiring few resources, is that also resourcefulness? Can be, can't it? So am I dissing on frugality? No, I'm simply saying that you really got to look at frugality, and we're going to cover it a little bit later here. You really got to look at frugality before you can determine that it's strictly a scarcity term. It's not strictly a scarcity term. It does have resourcefulness options. Okay? Next slide. All right, 2 ways to live more frugally. Number 1, living more simply. Number 2, by cutting costs and stretching your buying power. So, 1, what do these accomplish? And 2, how does the earn more, spend less model factor in your dreams or ambitions? Does the earn more, spend less, we've talked about this model for a while, haven't we? Does the earn more, spend less model factor in dreams and ambitions typically? It does not. Okay? You need to remember that because that's the common model that's taught throughout the nation, really. Okay? Earn more, spend less. Earn more, spend less. Earn more, spend less. Why would they teach you that? Because it keeps you where they want you. All right? But that's a completely different discussion that we're not going to get into right now. Okay? There is an agenda behind that. But the earn more, spend less does not factor in any dreams or ambitions that you have. Because dreams and ambitions require risk at some point, don't they? And earn more, spend less does not factor risk. And it does not encourage risk. And it does not purport risk. Okay?
It
So,
also makes you an individual though, and,
which? Risk?
right,
Yeah.
taking a risk or doing something different than everybody else is.
Yes, it
And
does.
that's not very popular.
No, being an individual is not popular. It seems that you're allowed to be an individual so long as you agree with everybody else. So that's today's, okay? So anyway, living more simply and cutting costs and stretching your buying power, what do these accomplish? Do they accomplish scarcity or abundance? Think about it. Typically, what you want to say a lot of times when you see these are scarcity, but not always. Sometimes these can be used as tools for abundance depending on what your goal or your ambition is, right? But yes, typically these fall under the earn more, spend less. That's why I've got it at the bottom there, okay? Next slide there. Let the buyer beware. Who knows what that means?
Well, there's 2, in business law, there are 2 terms. There's let the seller beware and let the buyer beware, and it's where the liability is if the deal goes bad.
Yep, very well said. So, did everybody hear that?
Could you repeat that again?
Okay, so the whole idea in this case is let the buyer beware, because the liability lies where, Lillian?
On you.
On you. Okay, which means it's up to who? It's up to you, right? Okay, so when handling money, Proverbs 16:3 states, commit your works to the Lord and your plans will be established. All right? Because the Lord kind of laughs at us when we make plans. Doesn't Scripture say that? The Lord might chuckle a little bit when you make plans outside of focusing on Him. Okay, but I mean, this is pretty straightforward. Commit your works to the Lord and your plans will be established. All right, so when handling money, now we're talking pretty specific here, but we're going to broaden it a little bit. So take your time about signing a contract. Is that important?
You can get out of any contract.
What?
You can get out of any contract.
But you got to know how.
Yeah.
And you got to know the terminology of the contract to be able to know where it is you need to get out of it.
I don't know. My teacher was a judge in West Yellowstone, The contracts mean nothing.
Well, that's true to a point, but a contract is not simple to get out of, nor is it inexpensive. If you want out of a contract, it's going to cost you time and money. So, but is it important to take your time about signing a contract? Well, yeah, because you want to limit, like we were talking about, limit your liability.
And as
Right.
a Christian, you're signing a word and you need to make sure that.
It means something different for us, doesn't it? Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So you want to read the small print, because that's where they get you.
And you know, people.
No, people do not do that. But how big are contracts nowadays? When's the last time you guys, how many people in here own a cell phone? Okay, when's the last time you read your user agreement? It's a contract, isn't it? You check the little box that says user agreement.
You assume you're dealing with a reputable company and everything's okay.
Yeah, the same companies who have now admitted that they send all of your personal info to the government for inspection. That's in your user agreement.
You also forego your right to take them to court.
Yep. See? So, is the small print important? Yeah. Now, am I saying you should read the small print on everything? Well, that depends on how many contracts you're involved in. I mean, that's totally up to you. Because the liability lies where? With you. Okay? Let me give you a case in point. Let's talk about liability for a moment. I'm going to give you a work story. Do you know which story I'm going to give? Okay, so, at work, what?
We have so many.
At work, there was an individual who had parked their vehicle next to a fence that was going to be stained that day. Okay? They pulled up, they're trying to stay out of the way. So, owner of the fence comes into the office and says, "Hey, we're staying in this fence today, I need you to move your car." Person says, "Okay." He says, so owner, not owner of the car, but owner of the fence then says, "Because we're gonna do it whether your car is there or not. If you don't move your car, you're gonna get stain on it. Because we've gotta get this done today. So please move your car." Individual says, "Okay, I'll move my car." Well, this was right around the time of the eclipse. Everybody was, "Oh, eclipse," all right. This person got involved with this eclipse thing, forgot to move their car. Went outside and got mad that there was now stain on the front of their car. Not a little, quite a bit. Who had the liability? Now, who do you think that person thought should have the liability?
The driver of the car.
No, the person who owned the car. Who do you think thought should have the liability?
The same spray.
Stainers.
The owner of the fence. Did the owner of the fence come in and tell him straight up, "Hey, this is what I'm doing, please move your car, that's gonna happen"? Okay, and then, so the individual wanted to use the excuse of all the hubbub of the eclipse going on that day, because it was a big thing, everybody's talking about it, that it simply slipped their minds and they shouldn't have to deal with that now. So they were irritated that the owner of the fence didn't come in and tell them yet again to go move their car. And felt that the owner of the fence should pay to have that stuff removed. Okay. Is that pretty common in society these days? That kind of
Yes,
attitude? Yes.
especially when it comes to parenting. I mean, the list
Yep.
goes on and on.
Yes, it does. So, yeah,
How's the story end?
okay. So the owner of the business that they work for, my boss, ended up finding some stuff that would take the stuff off, went out there and took it off himself. Why? Because he's very much, he tries to avoid conflict where he can. He didn't see, however, he 100% agreed with me, and I was very straight up with that particular individual who owned the car that it was their fault and nobody else's. And I thought it was ridiculous that they would attempt to blame the person who owned the fence when they admitted that they had come in and told them to move their car. So, but how did it end? They got the stain off. He found some stuff that would take the stain off, trying to
The owner was happy.
avert disaster between the owner of the fence, who was not him, and the other individual. Does that make sense? Because they wanted to call the owner of the fence, and we all knew the owner of the fence, and we knew that that was not going to end well. So, that's the end of the story. Anyway, so, back to this. It's important that you take responsibility for your stuff, okay? For your stuff, your liability, all right? Asking questions. We've been conditioned that questions are divisive, so don't ask. Is that true? No, we have. Isn't that society today? You can ask questions so long as I agree with you. You can ask questions so long as it benefits me. You can ask questions until I'm offended. then you can't ask questions.
Can I just say that that's worse in the church, and not specifically here, but
You mean
Christians
the
in
body
general.
the body as a whole?
Yeah,
Yeah.
do not like to be questioned ever for any reason.
So, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. This truck I just bought, do you think I asked questions? Heck yeah, I asked questions. Do you think I offended the guy once or twice? Yeah, I did. Was I rude though? I was not rude. But this was my liability. Okay? So yeah, I'm gonna ask those questions. Next slide.
As a manager, I still tell my guys what you told us growing up. The only question is dumb is one was not asked.
Yeah, exactly. I would rather feel silly for asking a silly question than not ask the question and have it come back to bite me later. Okay? All right, so when handling money continued, before approving a project, ask for an exact quote. This can apply to a lot of things, okay? All right, so now the next thing is suggest a not to exceed. Who knows what a not to exceed is? Does everybody know what a not to exceed is? Were you shaking your head, Ken? Not to exceed is when you agree on a price and no matter what happens, it will not exceed that price. That's a not to exceed, okay? Similar to a flat rate, only it could be less. A flat rate says, this is what you're paying. Like if you go to the mechanic, he says it's $900 and it's a flat rate shop, it's $900 regardless of what happened. Whereas a not to exceed would be, we're estimating $900, well, we got it done for $600. So you only charge $600. But say it cost them $1,500, in the end, you still only pay $900 because that's that not to exceed. Ask for, this is one a lot of people miss, ask for a list of materials needed, purchase them yourself and have them there on the day the work starts. You get invoiced for materials that whatever contractor or whatever person is doing a service for you, you get invoiced at usually a rate of 25%. Well, actually no, 25% for the little guys, about 50 to 60% for the bigger guys, all right? So if you want somebody to build a deck for you, for instance, they're going to charge you an additional 50 to 60% for materials on top of what it costs them. All right, so if it was $5 a board, it now costs you $10 to $11 a board. Okay. So the whole idea is you ask them for a list of materials, which they will give you. If a contractor or somebody won't give you the list of materials needed, then find another contractor. Ask them for an exact list, you go, you purchase it, you save on that, and when they show up on site, you better have everything that's on that list. And don't give them a reason to go somewhere else to take care of what they need to take care of. All right, because that is also gonna cost you money. But a lot of people, or a lot of contractors, don't have a problem doing that either because it saves them having to haul stuff, having to gather stuff, I mean, they're gonna make their money, but they would much rather show up and just do work. Okay. Now, does this only apply to contractors type stuff? No, it doesn't always have to. I mean, you know, pick and choose as far as, you know, what you can. But it is gonna apply a lot of times to things you need to get done. Who has other ideas on how to deal with money in these respects? Anybody else?
Like when you're commissioning work?
Well, commissioning work, signing contracts, you know, dealing with your own liability, basically.
Well, with medical bills, there's flexibility. The bill really isn't
Yeah.
the bill.
Yeah, that's a very good
Get it.
point. You can negotiate a cash price with a medical provider. Did you know that you can assume somebody else's medical debt? Now, why would you do that? There are investment times when you would do that. Like, for instance, say you wanted to purchase a piece of property, you go talk to the owner. Reason the owner is selling has to do with medical bills. Now, most people won't go to the owner and talk to him about it. They just want to make an offer and they get turned down and no communication really happens. But you go talk to the owner about it, you find out it's medical bills. I have known investors who assumed those medical bills in order to bring the price of the property way down and to be able to get it for a price that was not listed. A considerably lower price, because what he did was he dealt with the problem. Okay, so why would you assume it? Well, there's just one reason you would assume it. But remember, we push what here? Think outside the box, right? Okay, that was definitely an outside the box move, but your liability definitely factors into whether you're thinking outside the box or inside the box. You can still use your liability outside the box, because inside the box is crowded if you take a good look around, all right? Okay, the next one, next slide. This one should get a few hackles up. Let's talk grocery stores. Okay, these are the rules These are the rules. Everybody chuckles. We're going to get into it here. These are the rules of groceries. Okay, not just groceries, but grocery budget planning, things like that. They all kind of factor in. Number one is you never shop when you're hungry. How many people have done that? Yeah, never shop when you're hungry. Why? Well, because you got to buy something to feed yourself on top of the other stuff that you probably didn't plan on buying. Right? You're walking down the aisles. What do? Oh yeah, I meant to get some of that. Oh yeah, I meant to get that. Oh man, I hate walking by the bakery. So you buy yourself donuts or you buy yourself rolls or whatever it is you like. Okay, number two, who has thoughts? I want thoughts on this coupon clipping. Coupon clipping was big. I don't think it's as big now as it was. Now it's more coupon codes if you use them at all, or they're trying to give you discounts there at the store. What's that?
Like a rewards program.
Like a rewards program, yeah. I think they've gotten away from coupons. Although coupons are still out there, but does anybody have thoughts on coupons?
Waste of time.
Waste of time?
I disagree. Holly has found a couple of apps that have a specific set list of things that fluctuate.
Right.
And if you buy that particular item, you get, like, say, 75 cents towards this app. It's real money. And you have a bank of money, basically, and you just basically scan that you are purchasing that, and you rack up a certain amount of money or whatever. She just cashed in for one of our date nights, $35
Credit?
a $35 gift card to Buffalo Wild Wings to go have food on, because she's been
Right.
doing her grocery shopping, planning her meals out, and buying those specific items and showing that she's bought those
Right.
items.
So-
Some form of coupon.
Well, that's actually more rewards,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah, that's a rewards program where we're going to reward you because you purchased X, Y, and Z. We're talking basically where the old style coupon where you would get the coupon out of the paper and then you get that discount at the store. It's not where you get anything back, it's simply where you get a discount off the product.
And I don't like those because it's not stuff I buy. I don't
Yeah.
buy canned goods, I don't
Yeah.
buy that junk that they have on the coupons.
So are we in agreement then, basically the couponing's somewhat dead? As far as couponing goes in and of itself?
Not dead, but dying.
Dying, yeah, dying, and we'll have probably a soon death.
And with coupons, you gotta read, a coupon, you gotta read the sign in front of the product.
Yeah.
And we're getting to that, yes.
Okay.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you really gotta watch. Okay, number three, always use a list. What does that mean?
Stay with the list.
Prior planning. Yeah. Means prior planning. Bren, how much has planning meals helped the budget over the years?
A lot.
A lot. Our primary grocery budget when we were first married with 5 kids at home and just me working, well, 3 kids originally, sorry, was $100 a month. Month.
Huh?
That was 20 plus years ago.
That was a long time
That was
ago.
a long time ago. Yeah, no, that's what. But I was the only income. It was Brenda, Cody, Mikey, and Jeffrey. Okay. Now, when we had the other two, we bumped that up to what, 150 or 250?
Yep.
Was it 250? Well, it bumped up incrementally, and it eventually got to 250. But that was a month to feed 5 boys and 2 adults, 1 income. Okay. She did do couponing and some other things. A lot of that had to do with the types of food we were buying too. But did it help? Planning the meals? Absolutely, planning the meals helped.
Shopping the sales.
And shopping the
At the
sales.
time, it was worth my time to go to every store and buy only the things that I wanted on their sales.
Right,
Now it's not as, now time is more important than money.
right.
to me.
I've heard the argument with that is you drive around, you're burning up gas
Yeah,
to, and then that's an expense along with your groceries.
that never gets factored in.
But I did factor it in.
What's that?
I did factor it in.
Yeah. But you said Holly plans meals?
Yep.
Does that help?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Planning meals help?
I plan meals.
Do you?
He does it, but I don't plan meals.
You don't plan meals? I thought you
No.
did.
No.
I take that back.
Rowena plans 1 hour ahead of time.
That-
I don't know what I'm gonna get. Every cent for that.
No. YouTube, here it comes. Okay, so planning can ultimately help I mean, tremendously help a budget. Because if you go to the store, you've got, I think, how far out do you plan again? 2 weeks or 1 week? 2 weeks. She goes in and she's grabbing everything she needs for those meals in the 2 weeks. And when she plans, correct me if I'm wrong, when she plans meals that will use similar items too. Which cuts down how much she's gotta buy, or how much she's gotta keep. And then she's gotta factor in the fact that her husband wanders into the fridge every now and then. So,
Or the, like, potluck and all
Yeah.
of the extra.
yeah, the things that pop up, dinners, people coming over for dinner, things like that. Calculators, who uses them when you go grocery shopping? Anybody? Use a calculator?
Occasionally.
In
I
your
did
head?
my head.
Use your head? Okay, yeah. I think most people, Brenda says she rounds up, so she can kind of keep track. Does Holly use a calculator, or is she just gonna?
No, probably not. Not mathematically inclined.
Well, Lita doesn't grocery shop yet.
Did.
Are you
I do
calculating?
too, actually. I go for my parents.
Are you calculating per item on your calculator, or are you as your bill adds up? You're looking for your.
Some people will go through the store with a calculator in hand, so they know, because they have a grocery budget. I can't go over this week, or I can't go over this month. So I just wanted people's thoughts on calculators. So calculators are kind of like coupons. I think people used them a lot more 10 years ago than they do now. Okay, so you want to always compare sticker prices, because bigger is not always cheaper. Who am I pointing at? Costco and Walmart. What? Costco and Walmart, all right? Just because you walk into Costco and they're this huge discount store, you start checking prices, you'll find that not all of their bigger prices are cheaper. You're not saving per serving. All right?
But it depends on what you're buying.
It does.
Like, I'll pay more for the organic
Yeah.
canned
Oh, yeah.
goods. And
Yeah,
I
well,
know
yeah,
I
it depends
pay
on your
more-
grocery list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, number 6, store brands are cheaper than the name brands. But is this the stuff you really want to feed your family? I can't help but throw that stuff in there because our household has morphed considerably as to what we eat, okay? I have a lot of, I don't want to say health issues, I hate saying it that way because it makes it sound like I'm, like I've got heart issues or lung issues, I'm gonna die sometime soon. That's not it. I have a lot of food allergies and I have a lot of sensitivities I gotta watch. And it has to do with my quality of life, all right? So although you're buying store brands and cheaper brands, like Brenda said, she doesn't buy canned goods per se. You really want to weigh in your own budget, is this the stuff that you want to be eating? Because this is what I will say about that. The food you put in yourself now, you will be paying for the maintenance on that later. The maintenance you put in now to your foods, the more quality of life you will have later. Cheaper foods will cost you quality of life later on. Kathy, did you have something?
Yeah, when I still had sunshine, me and Dad's had off-brand tuna fish for sale. I thought, it was like 30 cents a can, so I thought,
Yeah.
This was regular people tuna fish. So I bought a few cans, and Sunshine would not touch it.
When the cat won't eat tuna.
Yeah, and so I ended up throwing all the cans away because, if the cat won't eat it, I'm
Right.
definitely not gonna eat it.
For the record, Sunshine was our psychotic cat. Found a good home with Kathy because, well, apparently she was still somewhat psychotic there too.
But, you know why she was psychotic?
Why?
She was deaf.
Think so?
Yes, because one time, the reason I found that out is I was vacuuming and she was
Yeah.
laying in the chair, and usually when you turn on a vacuum cleaner,
Right.
they're gone. I started vacuuming her with the hose, and she just loved it. And she never flinched, so I thought, she is deaf.
Weird cat. All right, number 7, avoid prepared foods. Not just for nutritional reasons, financially they cost more. Your convenience just costs you a couple bucks more. And if you're doing that 2 and 3 times a day, I've known people that do it 4 times a day, that's gonna cost you huge. Your budget's gonna go through the roof, all right? And as I said here, as far as nutritionally goes, we're not even gonna get me started on that one, so. Number 8, watch things as they move across the scanner and make sure the prices are correct.
Check your.
Okay, some stores will not change the price in their system so that you grab it at the sale price, but really pay full price at the scan.
Walmart.
And most people won't even,
Really bad.
Walmart, yep, that's the
Really
one that came up the
bad.
most.
Oh, they're
Okay,
terrible about
now
that.
just a quick reference back to number 7 there, one thing I want to say about prepared foods. Cheaper means exactly that, cheaper price, cheaper ingredients, more cheaply made, and way less consideration to nutrition than sales. Okay, you ever see a Hot Pocket? Those things will kill you. Alright,
Well, that was one of the things about coupons is,
Ah.
I mean, obviously all the stuff ties together.
Yeah.
But stuff that is, we should not be eating stuff that you can buy with coupons.
that's a very good, yes,
Yes.
Yes,
If you
yes,
look, if you go and look at all the coupons.
yeah, it's the junk,
It's the junk.
yeah.
Yeah, and occasionally, you know, Albertsons will have
What?
cheese coupon, which
Yeah.
we, you know, but
Do you know why soda
it's a
goes on sale?
process. It's a cherry picker.
It'll start eating through the plastic.
Yeah, they gotta get rid of it. Soda goes on sale because it pulls people in and they'll come in and buy other junk because
cherry picker.
by design, exactly, but it's designed to make you want a snack as well, so,
Keeps up their addiction too.
exactly. Alright,
A
next
funny-
slide.
a
Yes,
funny
go ahead.
on the Hot Pockets, this is a little joke, whatever, you have Hot Pockets for breakfast, Hot Pockets for lunch, by the time it's time for dinner, you're dead.
Exactly. Alright, so I got some cool facts for you here. Millennials spend 44% of their food dollars, or $2,900 annually, on eating out, according to the Food Institute's analysis of the United States Department of Agriculture's food expenditure data from 2014. That represents a 10.7% increase from prior data points in 2010. In contrast, baby boomers in 2014 spent 40% of their food dollars on eating out, or $2,600 annually. Anything you could spend $2,600 on? Now, am I saying never eat out? No, I'm not saying never eat out. Sometimes you just need a break. You can factor that in to your budget. Okay, next slide. Some more facts. The series called Eating Patterns in America, which tracks what, when, how, where more than 2,000 households eat. This is one of those downward trends to watch, says Balzer. Balzer is the guy who did it. At the current rate, less than half of all dinners eaten at home in this country will be homemade. That slow but steady disappearance of cooking in the United States is happening on other levels too. A comprehensive study published in 2013 showed that all Americans, no matter their socioeconomic status, are cooking less than they have in the past. Between the mid-1960s and late 2000s, low-income households went from eating at home 95% of the time to only 72% of the time. Middle-income households went from eating at home 92% of the time to 69% of the time. And high-income households went from eating at home 88% of the time to only 65% of the time. And what are they eating when they're home? If these guys are not, if there's that big a drop in eating at home, then what are they eating when they are at home? It's convenience, right? These guys are eating out. Is it more convenient? You get to the end of your day, do you really want to go home and fix a roast because you didn't plan for it that morning and put it in a crock pot? No, you want to go get a pizza. What's that?
Oh, I said I think a lot of this is because you have two parents working and stuff, and that makes a big difference.
Diminishing skills. Yes.
Well, because both used to traditionally, right? Nuclear family. Dad comes home,
Yeah.
brings home the bacon, and mom cooks the bacon. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that's not happening anymore, and
Well, and cooking's been glamorized.
that's true too. Yeah.
You know, you got the Food Networks, which gives people who like to cook a lot of things to do, but are they doing it on a regular basis? Not necessarily. I see more people watching Food Network than I see cooking food. You know, so, and a lot of people who don't like to cook. Does your mom like Food Network? Does she like watching it? Or do you know?
Oh, yeah.
No, she likes HGTV.
Oh, really?
She
I guess
doesn't
she
like
liked the Food
Food
Network.
Network, no.
Okay. But I have met other people who don't enjoy cooking, who enjoy watching people cook. All right. So that's that begs the question. There is, what are these people eating? If they're eating out for convenience, what are they eating when they're home?
Hamburger.
Hot Pocket, yeah, macaroni and cheese. Okay, next slide. Okay, pointers. Do this as a family. Deuteronomy 6, verse 7 says, "You shall teach them diligently to your sons, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up." Is it important to teach your kids budgeting and planning? Absolutely. It still cracks me up that the boys will tell us where sales are at. They will?
I just have to tell you, look, Nathan, my kids, like Nathan is definitely my son when it comes to this, but when they were little, we would drive by somewhere and if someone was cleaning out their garage on the middle of a Tuesday or something, he's like, "Look, Mom, there's a garage sale." But I remember in Costco one day, and I didn't realize that he caught on to this, but I walked in the store and he's like, "Mom, I know what to look for today." And I said, "I didn't even tell you what we're getting." And he said, know the price codes, because I was teaching them early Costco's
Right.
price codes and what they meant, and it's like, we don't even look at the items most of the time, we just look at the prices, and if it's on sale or clearance or discontinued, it's like, and that's how we did most of our,
Right.
like, Christmas shopping or
Yeah.
birthday, but that type of stuff at Costco. But, yes.
All right.
Teach them a little.
Okay, we're gonna kind of blow through this list because I'm starting to get short on time here. Number 2, buy seasonal stuff right after the season for the next year. That's when it's super cheap, like right after Christmas, all right? Buy clothes somewhere other than a retailer. Look at the thrift store.
I'm off thrift store today, every day.
Okay, and stay out of a seller's market. So I given you the definitions of sellers and buyer's market. Seller's market obviously benefits the seller. Buyer's market obviously benefits the buyer. Okay. Now, negotiation, the process by which 2 or more parties get some or all of what they want through the process of open, transparent communication. Just really quick, let me give you how not to negotiate. Okay, when you wreck your car and the auto body place says, hey, we're gonna give you this much, and you say, oh no, that's too much. That is not how you negotiate. Okay, if they say it's worth this, okay. If you think it's too low, say something. If you think it's too high, maybe it was actually worth more than you thought it was worth. You don't say, no, that's too much. Okay? The whole idea, though, because bartering is the lost art, really it is. Okay? And bartering, you will see when the next recession comes, it's going to more than likely be worse than the last one. That's when that's when junkyards do really well, pawn shops do really well, thrift stores do really well. And that all starts to go back to bartering, okay? So bartering, things that bartering is not. It's not confrontational, it's not manipulative, and it's not dishonest. You are not the used car salesman of whatever item you're trying to get rid of or pick up, okay? Honesty. Honesty makes bartering what it is. Negotiating is something every human being should know how to do, something you need to teach your kids. Let me give you a quick story on bartering. So, I taught my kid this one. How to eat junky hot dogs. Okay, how did I do that? Cody, I want you to go up to the clerk and ask them when the last time they changed those hot dogs were. Okay, you go in late at night, right? There's those hot dogs on there. I guarantee you they've been on there most of the day. Now, if you're hungry, you don't care. But you go up and you say, hey, how long those hot dogs been on there? And they say, oh man, I think they've been on there all day. At which point, I would say, oh, well, never mind. I was going to grab it if they've been on there that long. And 90% of the time, they will say, oh, just go ahead and take them. I was going to throw them out anyway.
That's bartering.
Cody, how often?
I mean, when we were hood cleaning, we would go to the gas station right before we went home, So we
How many free hot dogs?
keep yourselves awake. A lot.
Okay.
Like 100 or something.
Now, did I swindle the guy? No. I simply said, okay, never mind. And he's like, now, not only did we get the hot dogs though, we got the condiments and the buns for free, which the guy behind the counter who's getting paid doesn't care about. He's not thinking about that. But it was a fair trade. He was like, look, I'm just going to throw them away. Go ahead and take them. All right? No harm, no foul. Nobody was bent out of shape.
Just after you talked about health and.
Well, now I did say junky hot dogs, okay? Was that the greatest thing to feed my kid? No, but I wasn't at the point I am now, all right? So, next slide. Let's talk real quick. Okay, these are life calculations. So, on the first one is the most common model. Why is it the most common model? Because we all trade time for money, don't we? Making money more important than your time. All right? Now the next one, when would we trade money for time?
When you're hiring somebody?
No, like vacations. You're trading money for time, aren't you? I've saved up this money so I can go here and do this and cover bills. Okay, you've saved time, you're exchanging time for money. Now some people will tell you that time is equal to money. Not correct. Which one of these models is accurate?
It's the top two, depending on your.
Well, but which of them should apply?
Probably your time.
Time, yes.
Your time.
What's more important, time or money?
Time. I think.
Yeah.
Always make more money.
But really, you can always make more money. So here's what I want you to write on your page under that last time equals money. I want you to put time. And then I want you to put the little greater than towards the time and leave it right there. Money really shouldn't factor in there. The whole point is you know, like I've said before, you can lose $5 and make $5. You lose an hour, it's gone. Okay? Brenda and I were talking about this morning. You know, your lifetime, it's like a checkbook that never truly balances. You keep taking money off the end, but you do it with the understanding that you never get to make a deposit. What you started with is what you get.
Money or time?
Time.
You said money.
Did I say money? I apologize. I meant time.
Well, it's like bartering, I mean.
And reference.
I don't know if people look at it this way, but if you ask a question that saves you $10 or $20 or
Yeah.
$100, how long is it gonna take you to earn that money? You know, it's like you
Yep.
just saved yourself 10 minutes or 2 hours of time by asking one question that took you 2 seconds.
Exactly. Exactly. Next slide. All right, back to frugality, Michelle. Frugality is a tool. It is not the entire answer. It is not a lifestyle. It's a tool. Everybody hear that? Tool. It's a tool. All right? So, your budget and planning, is it moving you towards your goals and dreams or away from them? Or better yet, how about this? Does it just provide survival? Les Brown, one of my favorite motivational speakers, one of his quotes is, most people die at 21, don't get buried till they're 65. Because their whole life was based on survival. All right, now some people might think that having goals and dreams is just a waste of time. No. Remember the numbers, you were 1 out of 100 million sperm that made it. It's true. Pretty big odds. Do you think that God considers you just as important as Trump? Or just as important as any of the apostles? Yeah. Okay. We talk in church about being more like Christ, but remember that Christ changed the world in 3 years. When you leave this earth, what did you do? What did you accomplish? How did you show the Father? You can't say, I want to be more like Christ, and then not be more like Christ. But you can say it. They'll live. So, see, they're just kids out here in tears. All right. And then, of course, always, Genesis 11:6, the Lord said, behold, they are one people, and they all have the same language, and this is what they begin to do. Now, nothing which they purpose to do will be impossible for them. Our hopes and dreams, why aren't they in your budget? Why aren't they in your planning? It is hard to plan risk, but you can mitigate risk. But you can also be ready for the opportunity when it comes. All right, any questions or comments? No? Awesome. Let's pray. Great and glorious God and Father, Lord, we thank you and praise you for this day, for this opportunity. Help us, Lord, to realize our full potential in Christ through our budget and our planning. Help us realize that we're never too young to start planning, never too old to start planning, and that, Lord, you have great things in store for each of us, and that those things are to help build the kingdom. And it's in your Son's beloved and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You could have just come in.